Yaro sunlo zara. In Urmila and Jackie Shroff, when they're circling each other, something like Rangeela. Once Abhishek told me,
Shiva is re-released, Rangeela is re-released. Which other films would you like to see again as an audience?
maybe with exception.
Hi, today we are with one and only RGV, Ram Gopal Varma, and we have already watched recently his film Shiva, which is now in 4K version. And again, to delight his fans, there's yet another movie, a classic on its own right, Rangeela re-releasing. So we are here to talk to the director, and perhaps he was very young at that time, like we all were. Before that, I just want to tell something to my team, sir. Bhai zara AC idhar ghumana. So you know where to start. I think Rangeela was completely against what you were making at that time, films like Shiva and other films. And also it had a great humor, but again it was a very common love story, with jealousies and everything else. So how did you think of that story and why did you do that story?
See, there are two main elements which kind of instigated me to make Rangeela. One is I was a huge fan of this Hollywood classic called The Sound of Music. That's the first film I saw where, there was no antagonist in the film. All of them are nice people. A situation which creates a conflict. That was one part. Second is, I used to know a guy in college. He was like a dada. Like those days, college students and dadas used to mingle together. And he was in love with this one girl in the college. And she used to see a guy who was much more handsome than him and richer and whatever way. So, and I was like Munna in Rangeela. So Aamir played that guy. So I was like a hanger-on of this guy. So he used to keep telling me about how much he loves her, and one day I instigated him to go and beat him up. And he said, no, she deserves someone more better than me. That I thought was true love. See, love we always think is about possessiveness. It's about to be selfless. That he wishes well for her and he thought that guy was a better choice for her in life. This is what stuck in my mind when he said that that guy. So then when I saw Mani Ratnam's Roja, I was taken aback with the way he shot the songs and everything. Very inspiring. So I think 5-6 things like this came together. And at a point of time, the main plot actually told Sridevi, I wanted to do it with her, Nagarjuna, and maybe try for Rajinikanth for a special appearance of Jackie Shroff, Then Sridevi chose Govinda. Because I told the two stories. So I said, okay. And then, and then when I was doing Gayam, at that time, Urmila, the choreographer, did not come on time. So she did something by herself. I was so impressed, and that is when I thought of reviving Rangeela again. That's how it happened.
So basically, with చెప్పిన storyలో what we heard, we remember hearing, or we think it was written in the gloss, those film magazines, was that it is your story, your love story.
Not at all true. That was actually relatively with Mast. When Aftab goes to see Urmila there, that is a kind of an experience I had when I went to see Sridevi for the first time.
So that's cleared. It's not your love story.
No, not at all.
So one other thing, you talked about inspiration from Roja, but Milli is again a film on its own. We have an old film called Milli. Urmila's name was, I had watched the older film. So were there any other inspirations like that?
Not really. Milli also I think was very, very coincidental. Definitely not taken from Jayaji's name in that film.
So one more question about inspiration, though you said there have been no inspirations. The film launched Urmila in a new avatar. It was like a makeover for her. It launched Manish Malhotra. He continues to be one of the top designers, and the best of the actresses got their makeovers after that, post that, with the help of Manish Malhotra in their films. And I remember once Raj Kapoor told in one of his interviews that he was inspired for Bobby's role, Bobby's dresses from, I think that Archie Comics. So like that, I was wondering what made you think of those kind of dresses and those kind of
at that time,
that kind of look?
Obviously, it's a well-known secret, not a secret actually. It's well known that I'm very heavily into beauty of women. So I used to...
Now, yes.
Everywhere, even then. So at the time when I was... I used to go to pick up books of fashion magazines and all that from Abid's.
Oh.
They used to sell on the roads, old fashion magazines and, So partly it was taken from there. And also the films like Singing in the Rain, the classics, Western musicals and stuff like that. And this Hairama song, there is a red dress which she wears, that was inspired from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Francis Coppola's. That's a horror film. But in that there's a extremely similar costume. Yeah.
So that's amazing, because that kind of stayed with us. There may have been many films after that with the similar kind of costumes, but Urmila in those dresses singing to those songs on those hills and beaches, that was something that stayed with us forever. That again brings me back, it brings me back to these locations that you always have. We've asked this question during your Shiva interview.
Yeah.
Maybe you can also talk about it again because it's a different interview. You always, Shiva, one of the most amazing things about Shiva, especially when we look back at it, is the way you use natural the locations that we walk around, those gullies. It's not easy. Usually when you shoot in studios, it's mainly because of the convenience and, So how is it that you're able to manage it in Hyderabad and then Bombay, of all places?
Yeah.
Of course, Bombay is used to filmmaking, but even then it was mostly studios and not much of outdoor. And you use a lot of outdoor, not just few scenes.
Yeah, because because I believe in very realistic cinema. And realistic cinema, by definition, the locations need to look real. You should feel that this can happen here. Something like this can happen. So the character's believability largely relies upon the location also. And that's something which I maintain, right, like you said, right in my first film, Shiva. So when people are running on the roads or walking, all of them look like you've seen. Like the Irani Cafe, for example, someone told me recently that's the first film ever to show Irani Cafe Shiva. And that's such a popular thing. It's not as if I invented it. That exists from 1950s, maybe the Irani Cafe is... So to answer your question, on the road, when a road you see every day, if a scene is happening there, that will add to the authenticity of the scene much more, and thereby it is also going to impact your emotion that much more. So that is the reason how I use locations. Yeah.
So also it is also about your technicians, how you choose them. For A.R. Rahman sir, it is actually the first Hindi straight film. For you, sir, was it the first Hindi straight film?
Straight film is Rangeela.
Yes.
Because both Drohi, there's Antam, double, and Ratri, and Shiva.
Yeah.
All of them were based here. Yeah.
So that way, how do you select your technicians? Musicians, you've got a great taste, and I think I will say that without even asking you that you have a great ear for music. I know you've hired some good musicians.
I don't know a great ear for music, but I'm very specific about what kind of music I want.
So how do you tell them? How do you tell this? Especially, I know A.R. Rahman was still young, but you made Ilayaraja give such a great music.
So in Rangeela, I was like very, very clear about the kind of songs I want to shoot because they're coming from within the situation and they take the narrative forward. So each and every song I kind of used to brief Rahman. See, for example, Yaro Sun Lo Zara. See, that one, I made that song just to establish Urmila's character's philosophy about life and Aamir Khan's character philosophy. By the end of the song, you don't need to know more about them.
Yes.
So likewise, in terms of love is about being together. You have someone else in your life. So the Tanha Tanha song, like Jackie wants someone in his life, Urmila wants and Aamir wants. And they're using the Tanha Tanha song to tie the triangle. The love triangle. Then with Hairama, I was very, very keen. I said, I don't want to see a romantic song. I don't want to see these flowers and in the night and as if they're doing something. I want them to be blatant outside and lusting each other rather than love, So the passion you see in Urmila and Jackie Shroff when they're circling each other, it's almost like two wild animals copulating, I described that to Rahman. So that is when, and I said, but the whole point is a love story. I can't make it erotic.
Yeah.
So that is when he came up with this, all those tablas playing on such a high intensity. and then using the sitar to make. So I tried to kind of present a sexual thing in such kind of a beautiful Carnatic classical kind of ragas by elevating that. This is a discussion I had very strong. I mean, a briefing I gave him.
And the camera work also. I think that's again another department where you have always, I mean, one of the factors that have made your films classics. I mean, I think you've had classic after classic. I think you have so many more releases lined up. Coming back to Rangeela.
See, camera works is something I feel I'm so clear because most of the time I think of films visually. I don't think of them like stories. I have already a short division made. For example, Shiva opening episode, I told shot to the producers and Nagarjuna how the film will open.
You write them down?
I might narrate. Sometimes I might write down.
Wonderful. So, sir, now you watch this film, Rangeela. Let's talk about Rangeela. You watch this film after so many years and watch it in 4K. When you look back at it, what do you see? What are those striking scenes that you saw and you were surprised? Sometimes you think, I mean, was it me who's made this? I mean, what are those scenes that might have amazed you?
One is basically, I'm normally interested in larger than life characters who are like, who awe you, intimidate you. That is my natural taste. As in Rangeela, it's like he can be anyone, she can be anyone. It's like, simple people telling a simple love story is something what is not very natural to me. But if someone comes and tells me that this happened in his life, like something like Rangeela, I probably would be bored. I won't even listen to it. Yeah. But at the same time, I was very moved with that guy I told you, who inspired me about the character. So maybe just something, just one line, one thing, which gives me the fundamental underlying emotion, and then to tell the story through such characters. But I would think Rangeela is like a little out of my natural affinity.
I think before Rangeela, after Rangeela, it has always been something else for you. Except for this has been that one standout film, like an odd man out kind of a film. So, what about you as a filmmaker? When you see yourself, how were you then? We would like to know. I mean, we know you now. You are on Twitter everywhere. I think we feel like we know you a lot about you. But at that time, what were you as a filmmaker, as a man, as a person?
What were I means like what?
Like your attitude in life.
I mean, I think pretty much I was the same even in college. I can't see much of a difference at all in the way I think, in the way I feel, in the way what my taste about anything. Yeah, I would think it's pretty much the same.
I also feel you have a very humorous, very everybody I think would agree, a nice streak in you where you know what you're saying, and that is seen in your films, this tongue-in-cheek humor, those
that I have. I'm very
spaces
much like
in
that
between
as a person.
Lines.
See, a lot of people think I'm a very serious person. Like once Abhishek told me, "You are the funniest guy I met in my life," he said. So a lot of people get taken aback when they actually meet me in person, because I feel anything real is funny, anything dark also is funny. Because either you have to develop that viewpoint towards it to make it look funny. Like for example, recently, like one guy told me his wife has a habit of constantly crying, and he gets irritated, and he told us, why do you? No, she said, I can't control my crying. So when he told me that, I said, just advise her to go and sit in a deep forest. She'll stop crying, because no one will pay attention to her. Then crying doesn't have meaning, and it also might attract wild animals. So there will be a solution for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And sir, one more thing is, yes, there is humor. There's also commentary on the society, commentary on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Maybe even what you see around in the film industry. And I mean, if you really keenly observe, there's a lot of things that is hidden in your films. I think that make these films always watchable, Because you discover something you have not discovered then perhaps in the first time.
Possible.
Yeah. So when we talk about classics, we always say, I mean, you have Shiva, you have Rangeela, you have Govinda. I mean, in a way, even that is something we can watch any number of times. What is your definition of classics, and what, according to you, what are your, apart from Godfather, of course?
Definition of a classic, I think it is direct proportion to the amount of impact it will make on you. It's not a film which you just see and forget by the time you have dinner, and the next week you're looking for another film. If it lingers on in your mind in some way or the other, and it so kind of shapes your thinking, shapes your emotions, in terms of the way how you respond. I think that is what I would call a classic.
Yeah. So in all your films, now Shiva is re-released, Rangeela is re-released. Which other films would you like to see again as an audience?
Maybe with the exception of Sarkar, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, your fans would disagree. I think we have a lot longer list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I probably
all of your
might
films.
want to make something better, which I failed to do at that time. That way, like maybe company would like to remake again, because I think I understand our subject matter much more today.
Yeah, hopefully that's the inspiration from all the films that you're watching, your own films.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, that's a good news, I think. So coming back to Rangeela, sir, we are going to watch it now very soon, again in 4K. So you tell us about your favorite scenes. I know this is a very cliched question, but we have to ask you this.
Yeah.
Because you are watching it again like an
more
audience.
than scenes, I would say there's some shots which I feel it is. I saw the film recently after the restored version. I was quite taken aback with some things. I took a creative choice which could have easily gone wrong if it did not convey. See, the whole film, we are seeing it from Aamir's point of view.
Yes.
He's feeling sad.
Yes.
When he's sitting on the steps and Jackie comes to drop Urmila, and when she says "Aapko kaise laga?" So there is respect in her eyes. There is a very thin line between respect and love, especially a woman saying that to a man, and on top of that, from the viewpoint of Aamir who's just sitting there. So if the audience registered it like Aamir did, then when she suddenly says a couple of scenes later that I also love Munna.
Yeah.
Then they'll think, what is this? Why did she suddenly change?
Yeah.
So which means I kept them in a limbo. Is she loving or respecting or whatever? I distracted them from taking a conscious decision that yes, she loves Jackie. So in Urmila's eyes, you can see if you try to look at it, they're just the respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if
also there are some
aapko
scenes.
kaise laga?
Ji,
Aapko
that's
kaise
a great scene actually.
Yeah.
And also
second thing is I was like at the end of the film, I was very keen that film should have a happy ending. But if one of them loses the girl, it can't be happy. The other guy is sad. Then how is it a happy ending? So I was very confused. I don't know how to end the film to get that. So when Jackie takes Urmila there, and then she meets Aamir and they both start fighting. So I had to show Jackie, how does the expression be? He can't be happy that now they both are together and he's left out in the wind. So I asked Jackie, I have no idea. I have to have your close-up. Now I don't know how you will react for it to have a happy ending. And to his merit, he just kept looking at the camera and was just amused at them. And then he had some light tears in his eyes and suddenly laughed and went out of the frame. That gave the kickstart of the Rangeela Re, the music.
Oh my God.
So
that
expression is something. Those are the moments I remember.
Yeah.
Because that general people won't understand. They think it's a scene, but a scene comprises of shots. And in one shot, I suddenly put the camera and ask an actor to come out with an expression which will make them feel his grief. At the same time, he's happy for them.
Yes. That I remember.
Yeah, these are the things which
But those scenes we remember, sir. Now that you're explaining, that scene is coming. I think that's
basically at that time, it is so easy for it to go wrong because what I am thinking in my head might not get communicated. It's a very difficult call to take.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's what again classics are meant to be, that you remember each scene, you remember this expression when you're explaining. I remember that expression of Jackie Shroff. When we watch, it's so impressionable in your head. I think that's one of So, sir, one more thing I wanted to ask you, that I do not remember if I'm wrong, but you have not repeated your heroine so much as you have repeated perhaps Sridevi Garu and Urmila. So what is it in them that you see? And
I think she's such a versatile actress, Urmila. I can't believe that she can do a Rangeela, she can do Satya, she can do Kaun, she can do Booth. It is directly related to that.
Yeah. What about Aamir Khan? I mean, that was one actor who was in his beginning of his career. Of course, he's made some really good films, but he went on to be a great actor. So what did you see in him that continues today? Perhaps something that you would like to talk about him?
See, Aamir was most suitable because he's got the right... he's got an instinctive demeanor in terms of his sophistication, But then to put him in a Tapori Mawali kind of a role is natural, what do you call, introverted element to do that. I think that balance is what which worked in the character. So I can't imagine anyone else doing that.
One last question, sir. For all of us, Rangeela was something memorable. And for a lot of actors, music director, for everybody, it was kind of launch for A.R. Rahman in Hindi. For you, what was it? What was that milestone in your life that happened post Rangeela? Was there anything like that?
No, I think, see, Rangeela and Satya are two films which kind of gave me a base in Hindi film industry, you know. So obviously they both are so different in their genres and their what they stood for, the characters and everything. So I would, so what else can I say about that?
Last one, I said anti-climax and climax. One more question, but I'll end here. Sir, when I always think about your movies from the past, when it's Shiva or Rangeela, of a certain time in the beginning, I always wonder, now you have a certain style of filmmaking. You say, this is my style, I want to make a film, I'll make it my way.
Yeah.
But back then, where did you bend down to a few cliches of the time?
No.
You have not.
Each and every film of mine I made, whether it is good, bad or ugly, all of them were my decisions and no one or nothing has influenced me.
So that's why we also give the credit of Rangeela's amazing success and such long living tenure for the film to you, sir. We've watched it so many times, but now we're looking forward to watching it on big screen. Best of luck, and hopefully you bring back other films to the big screen, because I'm sure many youngsters would want to watch them and we want to rewatch them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.